Hello, today we are talking about the Jane and Helen's friendship and Lowood from the novel Jane Eyre, written by Charlotte Bronte. Jane Eyre was unhappy and at Gateshead Hall, and that's why when she was to be sent to Lowood, she was prepared willingly to go there. She took the word school as a hope for new life, better life. When she reached Lowood, a person like a servant came to the coach and called by her name. She guided Jane to her room with fire and left her alone then. Though the room was not furnished spacious or splendid as the drawing room at Gateshead, but it was comfortable enough. Two ladies came to her room. The first was a tall lady, Miss Temple, and the other was Miss Miller. Miss Temple's were the child is very young to be sent alone. Jane was given supper and put to the bed soon. Jane was impressed by Miss Temple's voice, look, and gesture. Miss Miller had to an ordinary effect on Jane. She led Jane to see the whole building of the charity school. It was a large building full of silence. It was study hours. Later prayers were read. Next day the refreshment was not good, but the porridge had burnt and the girls protested it. Miss Temple appeased them by assuring that better food would be provided as a compensation. In the beginning of stay at Lowood, Jane's condition was as such. I had spoken to no one, nor did anybody seem to take notice of me. I stood lonely enough, but to that feeling of isolation I was accustomed. It did not oppress me much. She saw a girl sitting on a bench near her. That girl was reading a book when she happened. While reading a book to look at Jane, she started a dialogue, an open conversation. The other girl was Helen Burns, who told Jane many things that about Lowood Institution. She told that a part of the building was erected by Mrs. Naomi uh, Brockleshurst, whose son was its treasurer and manager. Helen told quite in details about the teachers also. He told that the tall lady was Miss Temple, who was the superintendent of the school, and she was like to be to by all the girls. The other teachers was red-cheeked named Miss Smith, who helped them learn tailoring. The little teacher named Miss with the black hair was with Sketcherd, who taught history and grammar. The teacher who wore a shawl was Madame Pirate, who used to teach French. Helen suggested that Jane should be careful regarding Miss Sketcher, as she was a strict task maker whenever Madame Parrot was not a bad person. Miss Temple was the best person there. Helen had been living in that charity school for 2 years. She had lost her mother. When Jane asked her, Annie, are you happy here? She responded, you ask rather to my question. I have given you and swear enough for the present. Now I want to read the only event in the afternoon which was noticed by all was that Helen was dismissed in her history class by Miss Sketches. She was penalized to stand in the middle of this class. Jane considered it an insult and thought that Helen would have felt distress and shame. But Helen neither wept nor felt any shame because she thought it proper that when a girl made a folly or error, one must be penalized to regret and realize. To Jane, it was something unbearable. A girl's conduct might be improved through other way of punishment, which make to public disgrace. Next day in the class taken by Miss Charlotte, again Helen was criticized on little bit of error. When a sum was given to Helen, she solved instantly, but the teacher rebuked her for her dirty nails. Helen made no answer, which puzzled Jane. Later, the teacher instantly has sharply hit Helen with a twig, but Helen did not mind it. In the evening, Jane met Helen uh, when she was reading a book by the fireside. Jane asked her about her hometown. Helen replied that she had come from the boards of a school. When asked whether Helen must wish to leave Lowood, she replied, "No, why should I? I was sent to Lowood to get an education, and I would be no use going away until I have attained that object." When Jane said that if she were in Helen's place, she would have disliked Miss Sketcher. Helen said that Jane would not have done that, otherwise she would be expelled from Lowood. The two girls talked about the goodness of Miss Temple. Helen told number of good things for life to Jane from the New Testament of the Bible. Helen's following words were quite apt. Life appears to me too short to be spent in nursing animosity or registering wrongs. Later, James was condemned publicity by Mr. Brockhurst during the visit and penalized. It was a big stroke on Jane's heart, but Helen sympathized with her when Jane plight caused her to feel ardently, "I wish to die." Jane asked her, "Helen, why do you stay with the girl whom everybody believed to be a liar?" Helen soothed her that only 80 people of the school were not the whole world of hundreds of millions, and Mr. Broxert was not a good and nobody like him at Lowood. Helen's word proved by useful to Jane. Miss Temple declared later Jane cleared of all charges. She invited both the girls in the evening to the room, and they were delighted. That became a memorable evening for them. Helen Burns had by this time become Jane's first chosen comrade, who was so pleasing and soothing company, a true companion for personal care. Later, she felt seriously ill and was accompanied with Miss Temple's room. Somehow, Jane also reached there one night. She conversed with Helen and slept with her, but the same night, Helen died which was a great loss of Jane. Her first chosen comrade left her forever. Later, she found a genius substitute in other girl, Mary Anna Wilson. But Helen's intimate company was never to be replaced by any other person, however good. the other might be. The second comrade could never be the first one chosen. Of course, the other was truly there. Jane's first days were made worth living at Lowood by Helen Burns, with whom she had grown and a natural intimacy.